Back in 2016, I quit social media. American society was undergoing a cultural crisis, technology had rapidly taken over our lives, and my mental health was suffering. So I made the bold decision as a college student in my 20s that I was going to pull the plug on social media for good. Or at least, that's what I thought at the time. Yeah. So I want to talk about my journey today. I want to talk about why I quit social media in the first place, including what I accomplished in that time and what I learned over those 5 years. Then I want to talk about why I relapsed and started using social media again in 2021. And then why, after 3 years back on social media, I've finally decided that I need to get rid of it for good. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe if you are new, and let's get into it. So I was in my early 20s back in 2016, and while I wasn't born in the technological age, I certainly spent my formative years in it. At the start of high school, less than a quarter of all American adults owned a smartphone, but by the time I had finished high school, that number was up to over 90%, including teenagers from poor families living on the outskirts of impoverished native reservations, like me. And so as someone who grew up poor, I was down bad for social media. I could listen to any music I wanted, I could learn anything that I wanted, and I could talk to my friends whenever I wanted. No expensive CD player, tuition money, or car ownership required. And so while things like smartphones and social media were empowering for everybody, that was especially true for those of us who had to go without entertainment or our friends as soon as the school bell rang. And so I was deep in the trenches of social media. I was like maxed out on Farmville, and I was posting pictures to Instagram every day, and I took part in the Misha-apocalypse on Tumblr. Social media was my world when I was 18 years old. But that was until social media started to destroy my real world. The election cycle and the so-called culture wars of 2016 did irreversible damage to a lot of my relationships. I had relatives who were estranging each other, and a lot of my friends had decided that if you weren't virtue signaling about something new every other day on social media, it meant that you were against them as people. And so it felt like the only way that I could win this game and maintain my relationships and my dignity was to not play the game at all. And so I stopped. It took some time, but eventually all of the negative traps of social media started to disappear from my life. And then I started to be more present, and my friends started to prioritize in-person hangouts, and my intake of news every day dropped to basically zero unless something actually important had happened. And in fact, during that time, a lot of my friends described me as one of the happiest and most cheerful people that they had ever met. And this was in spite of the fact that I was still leading a pretty stressful life. I was working 30 hours a week as an EMT, and I was going to college full time. But my friends were pretty much right. Despite those other stressors, I was still very, very happy off of social media. And a lot of that was because the opposite is pretty much true for me. I am the type of person who gets extremely angry and vindictive anytime that I see things like injustice or people struggling or negative news or having to struggle myself. I'm just very, very prone to feeling negative when I'm exposed to negative media. And in fact, even this YouTube channel about careers and economics was largely started from a place of self-righteous indignant fury because I grew up poor and I didn't have this information and these resources for myself. And so yes, I want to share information with all of you, and I want to see you all succeed and find financial stability, but I'm not really doing that out of generosity. I'm kind of doing it out of anger. But I digress. For someone like me, quitting social media was one of the best decisions that I had ever made. I was able to have amazing years with my friends in college, and I even had enough time and focus that I was able to get a full ride scholarship to grad school. But it was in grad school when things started to fall apart in the most unexpected way possible. 2020 was rough for me. My graduate stipend was taken away. I actually got laid off 3 times during that first year of the pandemic, and my personal relationship was straining because my then girlfriend was living far away from her family and we couldn't travel to go see them at any point. But even though those 2 years were hard on us, we did everything that we could to get by. Eventually, I got a much better job. We actually decided to move back near my in-laws, and so we thought that everything was gonna get better from there. But the truth of the matter was that, one, I was working in person still at a job, so I wasn't able to reap the benefits of that work from home culture. And even though we were physically near friends and family, most of these people were quarantining, and so we didn't actually see anybody in person for probably the first year that we were back. And it was in the thick of 2021 that I decided that I basically needed social media in order to get by, like, mentally. But I thought, like, hey, I'm enlightened now because I spent 5 years off social media, and so I'll just be able to use it as a tool and not fall back into those negative traps, which was true at first. But after about 2 years, I was back in that cycle of doom scrolling every time that I had kind of a free moment to myself. I was consuming the 24-hour news cycle, and I just felt myself over the past year angry a lot of the time about stuff that doesn't even apply to me. I thought I was free from this, but then an Instagram reel here and a TikTok there from a friend led to me doom scrolling for hours and filling every free moment with memes and thirst traps and politicized news. And I think it's time now for me to accept that enough is enough. I need to quit the toxic side of social media for good, and I'm planning to commit to it. Now, this isn't to say that I'm getting rid of all digital technology or entertainment. I think that's silly in today's world, and I think that, like, using Instagram as a business or consuming entertainment on YouTube isn't really the toxic side of the social internet. But things like Tumblr, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, even the Shorts feed on YouTube or the Explore feature on Instagram, all of that has gotta go. And so while I'll still look up reviews on Reddit or I'll chat with my friends on Discord, I'm gonna be deleting all social media apps from my phone. Because the mindless algorithm doom scrolling and the posting stories every day for half-assed validation from my friends and family, I just don't think that that's good for me. It is becoming increasingly more difficult to live a purpose-driven life in today's world. Inflation is out of control, people are angry and distracted all the time, and those third places where we could go to form genuine connections with people that still kind of existed when I was in high school seem to be completely gone from society. And so I want to take my life back and really finally turn the internet into what it was supposed to be to begin with: a tool. A tool for education, the occasional entertainment, and communication with people that I care about so that I can organize in-person activities with those people. I still plan to post videos to YouTube, I still plan to consume educational content and entertainment on this platform, and I'll still likely use social media tools for my own personal business ventures, but that's it. Moving forward, I am committing to using social media exclusively in the way that I choose, not in the way that some algorithm decides that I should use it. And so while I know that this wasn't my typical video, this is just something that I really wanted to talk about. So thank you for hearing me out. I'd really love to hear about your own kind of experiences and journeys with social media in the comments below. So let me know, how are you using social media? And are you using it in a way that's in line with you being able to achieve your own goals? Again, thank you for taking the time to hear my story, and I promise you that the next video will be on something actually economics or job market related. I will see you over there.